press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello students, we have been discussing the chapter physical and chemical changes, and so far we have studied what exactly change means. So what is a change? Anything which becomes different. Okay, anything which becomes different, that means it has undergone some change. Okay, and basically in this change there are majorly two types, physical and chemical change. Okay, physical, as the name says, in physical change there is a change in the physical properties. Okay, those might be a shape, size, texture, or change in the state or form. Okay, either the change in appearance or texture, like that. So that is change which we can observe or which we can see. Okay, that is physical change. And in these physical changes there is no new substance formed. Okay, until and unless the new substance is formed, it is physical change itself, and these physical changes are reversible in nature. Okay, and examples, we have seen that tearing of paper, or cutting, or this breaking of an egg, right, cutting of wood, etc. So these are the examples for physical changes. And one more important example for physical changes, crystallization. So what is this crystallization? See, when we take some seawater, right? So what does the seawater contains? Salt. Of course, the seawater contains the salt. And when we try to evaporate the water from the seawater, so what do we get? What is the remaining part? Salt, right? So that salt, though it is not pure, but crystals of the salts also cannot be seen clearly, right? So what I am trying to say is, this crystallization is a process from which crystals are obtained from their solution. Okay, so even this is an example for physical or chemical change. Yes, crystallization is an example for physical change because there is no new substance formed here, isn't it? The salt was already present in the seawater, right? We have just evaporated the water to get these crystals. Okay, so that process is this crystallization, an example of physical change. Because here, new substance is not formed, right? So that is physical change. It is a process in which crystallization is a process in which large crystals are formed from their solution. Example, seawater. Okay, when we evaporate the seawater, we will get the remaining crystals of salt. Okay, so that is an example of physical change because there is no new substance formed here. Okay, so even this is example for physical change. And yes, so this is all about the physical change. And what does chemical change means? Chemical change is nothing but the change in the chemical composition, isn't it? So in these chemical changes, either there will be change in physical properties or not. Okay, there in chemical reactions, a liquid may become solid or something. Okay, either there will be change in physical properties or not, maybe or maybe not, but definitely there will be change in the chemical composition. Okay, so that is the chemical change. For example, digestion of food, right? Digestion of food, making an omelette, okay, curdling of milk. Okay, so these are all the examples of chemical changes in which new substance is formed, and these chemical changes are irreversible nature. That is, the substance formed cannot be reversed back. Okay, we cannot get the same material or the same substance what we have started the reaction with. Okay, so this is the chemical changes. And one more important example in this chemical change is rusting of iron. Okay, in In this class, we will study more on this rusting of iron. This is an example for chemical change. So what is this rust? Okay, I have mentioned already that this rust is nothing but the reddish brown or dark brown colored some substance formed on this iron. Okay, whatever the iron object or whatever the iron material is, when exposed to the moist air, okay, then it undergoes changes and there is a formation of rust. That is some reddish brown substance, okay, that appears on this iron. Okay, that reddish brown substance what appears on this iron is called rust. Okay, this happens, rusting of iron takes place only in the presence of moist air. Clear? So what is this moist air contains? Moist is nothing but water, right? Okay, and this air contains oxygen. So when this iron reacts with this moist air, that is nothing but the water and oxygen. Okay, so presence of this water and oxygen, it reacts and there is a formation of this rust. Okay, and chemically it can be shown as iron when it reacts with water, right? This forms a chemical compound that is iron oxide. Okay, and this compound is nothing but rust, right? So this compound, that is iron oxide. Okay, so chemically rust is nothing but this iron oxide which is formed when it reacts with the atmospheric air and water. It is the moist air. When it reacts with this, it forms a compound called iron oxide. So that is nothing but the rust. Okay, so whenever there is more of this moist air, okay, whenever there is too much humidity, when there is too much moist in the air, this rusting happens even faster. Okay, this is what it needs, that is moist air. Okay, so this is the rust, that is the iron oxide which is formed due to the reaction of this moist air. Okay, let us see an experiment where we can clearly see what exactly this rust is. Okay, we will take a tube and we will place a nail here, okay, iron nail. We put this nail into some water, okay, and we will keep this mouth of this tube open. Okay, so this is nail and this is just water. And in another tube, we will take this iron nail, okay, and here also we will take water, but we will close this opening, we will close the mouth of this tube. Instead of water, we will take some solid, that is, we will take this calcium chloride. So what do we have taken? Calcium chloride. Okay, we have taken here three examples or three instances where we can observe in which this rusting happens. Okay, here we have taken water and we have kept this mouth of this big tube open. Okay, and here it is closed, but water is still there. And in the third example, we have taken this, yes, this mouth of this tube is open itself, but instead of water, we have taken calcium chloride, which is solid beads, bead-like structure. Okay, in three of these, what do you think, where does this rusting happens? Okay, where does this rusting takes place? Yes, Okay, so like I said or mentioned earlier that rusting takes place or rusting happens only when there is moist air. So what is this moist air? That is air and water. Okay, moist air contains, moist means air, water molecules. Okay, it contains some water. That is, it reacts with water plus air. So where exactly we can find both air and water? The very first instance, right? So this is where the rusting takes place, because even the mouth is open and it can interact with the air. Also here we have this water. Okay, this is where the rusting takes place, and here we have just provided this with water and there is no air here. Okay, there is no air here. We have also closed. Okay, we have also closed this after this water layer. We have blocked this upper surface. Okay, so there is no place for this air to interact with the air. Okay, so this is what rusting does not take place here, because it does not react with the air. Okay, because we have only given the water here, and in this case, yes, it reacts with air, but there is no water here. It is some solid, some calcium chloride. Okay, it do not have the water to react with. Okay, in all these three examples, we can see rusting of iron takes place only when there is both water and air. Okay, when we have both water and air, iron reacts with that water and air and forms a compound, that is iron oxide, Fe2O3. That compound is nothing but rust. What do we commonly say it as? Rust. Okay, that is a reddish brown appearance which we can clearly see. Everyone might have observed this in the old iron articles, that is rods or benches or anything, okay, which is of too old. We can clearly see this rust form. Okay, so let us see what are these disadvantages of this rusting. Let us see the disadvantages of this rusting. This metal, the iron metal, becomes brittle and weak. Also, this rusting destroys the appearance. Okay, it destroys the appearance and also shine of the metal, the iron metal. Also, favors the growth of microorganisms, that is bacteria and viruses. Okay, so these are the disadvantages of this rusting. Okay, due to this rusting, the metal, that is the iron metal, it becomes brittle and weak. Okay, the actual quality or the nature of this iron becomes, keeps on declining, and it destroys the appearance, it destroys the look and shine of this metal, that is the iron, and it even favors the growth of bacteria and viruses. Yes, these microorganisms are present everywhere, right? So when this iron gets rusted, okay, so that favors the growth of bacteria and viruses there. Okay, so you might have observed that whenever you get hurt, okay, whenever you get hurt with this iron, soon after that you will get this tetanus injection, or TT injection, what you say. It's because there are microorganisms that, especially the viruses, when they get into your body, yes, they cause illness. Okay, so to reduce that, we get that tetanus injection, right? It's because in this rusted iron, viruses are present. Okay, so these are the disadvantages of this rusting. Okay, so when in whatever thing it may be, when we have disadvantages disadvantages. Yes, we need to prevent those, right? It is not, this rusting is not desirable. We don't need this, right? So let us see what are the preventive measures we can take up to reduce this rusting. What are the measures to take up to prevent this rusting? Okay, you can go for painting this iron. Okay, whatever the iron articles we have, we can go for the painting of this. Also, we can apply grease, that is greasing. Also, we can go for oiling the iron. All these processes are nothing but they form a layer on the iron surface. Okay, so how does rusting happens? It is only when the iron reacts with the atmosphere, the moist air, right? So if we prevent that, reaction between iron and this moist air, so we can prevent this rusting. Okay, so anything which, to prevent this, anything which forms a layer between iron and the air, the atmosphere of the moist air molecules. Okay, so anything which forms a layer or barrier between this atmospheric air and iron, we can prevent this rusting. Okay, and one more important process is galvanization. Okay, so this galvanization is a process in which there is a layer of zinc placed. Because zinc is another metal, when placed on the surface of, or when coated with the surface of iron, then we can prevent this rusting. Okay, because the layer or the coating of zinc acts as corrosion resistant. Corrosion is nothing but this rust itself. Okay, so that is resistant to this rusting, the layer of zinc. So even on this iron metal, another metal, that is zinc, layer of zinc can be formed or coated to prevent this rusting. So even that is one of the important process. That is, to prevent the rusting of iron, we go for galvanization. That is method of this galvanization is method of protecting iron. Galvanization, that is, it is a method of protecting iron from rusting. By how it is protected? That is, it is protected by coating them with thin layer of zinc. Okay, in galvanization, zinc and many other two materials like other metals, even chromium and other metal is also used, but majorly zinc is used to protect this iron from the rusting. Okay, thin layer of zinc is coated on the iron to prevent it from rusting. So that process is called galvanization. Okay, so this is about how rusting can be prevented. Okay, so this rusting has many disadvantages, right? So this is very undesirable, hence we need to prevent this rusting. So with this rusting, okay, with this preventive measures on that is the galvanization more importantly. So what does happens to the iron by doing this? Okay, the shyness remains. Okay, so when rusting happened, it affected the shyness and the appearance of this iron, right? So when we coat this with a zinc, its shyness remains the same. Even due to rusting, has the strength or the iron metal becomes weak, right? So with this application of or coating of zinc, its strength also remains the same. Okay, shyness remains also, strength also remains, and of course, rusting do not happen. That is the main reason that we coat iron with a layer of zinc. Rusting do not happen. Okay, so these are the reasons by which we do this galvanization. Because shyness and strength remains, and also rusting do not happen. Okay, so this is about the rusting of iron and galvanization. Okay. So let us now see what are the changes. Now let us see what are the changes observed in the chemical change. So whenever chemical change happens, so what is the change we can see? Okay? In any reaction, when chemical change happens, heat is observed or released. Okay? Also, light is observed or released. Also there will be change in color. Or there will also be change in smell. Sound might also reduce. And yes, there are always the formation of new substance. Okay, so these are the changes which we can see when a chemical change happens. Okay, well, whenever there is a reaction with there is chemical change, when we say there is a chemical change, what exactly happens? Okay, either there will be heat produced or released, or observed. Okay, either the heat is produced or released. For example, burning of paper or burning of wood. Okay, there is burning of wood, and on the surface or near the surface of this wood, we can feel the heat. Right, so that is one of the inference where we can see yes, that is a chemical change. Or even light is observed or produced. That is the same example we can take, burning of paper or burning of wood. There is a light produced, right? That's these are not everything, because of seeing all these reasons, we can say that there is the chemical change. Okay, again change in the color. Okay, due to whenever some chemical changes happen, there can also be the change in the color, right? In the very first example I have given, if when we take a copper sulfate solution and when we put magnesium powder in that, okay, this copper solution was blue in color, right? So when we had put this magnesium powder, the white color magnesium powder, so what happened? The blue solution turned into white and the white magnesium powder changed into blue, right? So there was a change in the color. Okay, again that is a chemical change. And change in the smell. Example, curdling of milk. Okay, yes, both smells different, right? Both milk and curd, isn't it? So that is a chemical change. Also, sound is produced. Burning of crackers. Okay, when you burn crackers, yes, there is a large or heavy sound produced, isn't it? So again, that is a chemical change. And again, at last, finally, the most important thing is there is always a formation of new substance. Okay, in everything, even the digestion of food, burning of food, or curdling of milk, anything, we can always see there is a new substance formed. Okay, so these are all the inferences from which we can say that is, it is a chemical change. Okay, heat or light is observed or produced, or there will be a change in color or smell, and also there will be sound produced, and also at the last, the most important thing is always a new substance is formed in a chemical change. Whereas in physical changes, as we have seen, only we can clearly see this. Okay, there will be a change in this physical appearance, a change in physical properties. Okay, seeing that itself, we can say that it is a physical change. Okay, so this is all about the chapter physical and chemical changes. Okay, here the chapter completes with the discussion of this change observed in this physical and chemical changes. Thank you.